What's up, ballers? This is Carlos Andres Ruiz, and I'm with my wife, Melissa Ruiz Vasquez. And here we are. We're going to start a podcast, Infinite Ballers Podcast. I don't think the Infinite Ballers is going to be the name of it. I think we'll grow into the name, but here we are. So, what are we going to talk about today, Mel?
My favorite thing in the world, my bestie. We're talking about fear.
Fear.
Yeah.
Where did that subject come from?
You tell me. Why? Maybe just me being around me, you're like, you know what? That's what we should talk about.
All right, so today we're going to talk about fear. Why fear? I just think it's one of our biggest opponents, not just as athletes, but in every domain. And if we can find a way to play against fear, I wonder if we can even make fear our teammate. So what does that look like? But I do think if we have a better understanding of what fear is and what it's not, I think we can amplify our expression as an athlete and as a human. And like I said, this is Infinite Ballers. And so for me, what is Infinite Ballers? Those two words hold such a deep definition for me. And I think infinite speaks to the personal development that we do with the athletes, and it's the human side of things. And if you live a compelling life, your story will be infinite. And then the ballers is the player. That's when we develop the player and on the field stuff, tactical stuff, mental performance stuff. But it's this dance between the human, the personal, and the player, the baller. And I think that when we work with athletes, the lack of confidence, or when any athlete is struggling, fear is something that can get really in the way. So I want to start with one of my favorite leaders. He'll probably be mentioned so much in all of our episodes, but he said that fear creates the boundaries of your life. And what he means by that is that if you're scared of heights, you're going to stay low. If you're scared of drowning, you're going to stay away from the water. And so everything that you fear creates all of these boundaries, which I think we underestimate the power that has, because I think the moments that I experience the most awe, at least like visually, is when I'm at a high location, when I'm on the airplane, when I'm in a building. And if I was scared of heights, I wouldn't experience that beauty. And then the ocean is so, I feel like, interconnected to us as humans, but to me in particular. And if I was scared of drowning, I wouldn't be able to experience the beauty and the interaction with the ocean. But we want to talk about that. The fact that fear can create the boundaries of our life, and in the athletic world, fear can create the boundaries of our expression as an athlete. But I just want to start with you, Mel, with regards to what is your relationship like with fear? And you mentioned today that it was like your besties with fear, and I actually don't think that's an unhealthy thing. Why do you say fear is your bestie?
I mean, I say that we're besties because we spend a lot of time together. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? As a very anxious person, I think everyone has anxiety, but I've had a long relationship with anxiety, since I was young.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've been, hanging out for a long time.
Can you give me an example of whether it's in athletics or whether it's your human experience of moments when you experience fear, like little things like I think you were sharing with me today, like fear of the dark. I feel like we all go through that. But what are some of those little examples?
Yeah, I mean, since I was little, I had a fear of the dark. I was telling Rachel the other day that it lasted way too long. Like that anxiety of the fear, anxiety of the dark, and like not knowing what's there, or like imagining what's there, or thinking that whatever. Ticks. I'm
Ticks.
terribly afraid of ticks.
Always? Since when?
Since I learned about Lyme disease.
What is Lyme disease? I know nothing.
I can't I can't describe it exactly, but I know one thing for sure is that there's no cure to it.
Oh.
And I think that's what terrifies me about it.
Oh.
And so whenever I've gone hiking with like friends, like
wow.
I hike up my socks as high as I can. I make sure I'm wearing leggings. I'm stepping around in high grass, like a deer. I don't even know, or
Uh-huh.
like those horses that are really fancy. Because I'm terrified. I'm like, I can't stay in the same place.
Yeah.
So I just, as fun as hiking is,
Does it kill you, or like do you just have that until you pass away?
yeah, you have that
But
until you
you don't
die.
die from it.
I don't think so,
Okay.
but it's like it affects you
Okay.
in some ways. Like I think it makes you like extra fatigued,
Oh, okay.
like stuff like that.
All right. So fear the dark,
Yes,
fear of
ticks.
ticks,
Yes,
um, slash Lyme disease.
yes.
Okay.
I guess. Yeah, but I also don't like the idea of something being like so embedded in my skin.
Okay. Yeah. Me either.
You're like, let's cut that
Next,
there.
like the first thing I thought about like with the socks is like snakes. I have my
Mm-hmm.
biggest fear is snakes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay. So any more?
Um, like any small ones like that? I don't think so.
No. How about as an athlete?
Hmm.
Like any injuries? Were you scared of
Mm,
injuries? Were you scared to be on the bench? Were you scared of your
yeah.
coach? Were you scared of, I don't know, like any
Yeah.
uh, fears within the universe of soccer?
Yeah, I mean, like, I was obsessed with soccer ever since I was young, but I never really got injured until like I was in high school and it was like junior year, like mid-season, I want to say. It was the stupidest way to get hurt. Like I was walking, backpedaling, and I
Practice or game?
game, like, and I was playing center back at because at the time that's
Center back.
yeah, I was me. Lo
Wow.
puedes creer,
Wow.
me. But I was playing because my team was so bad. Oh my god! But I was walk pedaling, backpedaling,
Uh-huh.
and I stepped into a big hole and I rolled my ankle, and all you hear is it just cracks.
It was a grass field?
Yes,
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
yeah. It was a grass field. Rolled my ankle immediately, like grabbed my ankle, but not because of pain, because I just hurt it,
Uh
and I just started crying. Not because of pain, but because I was scared about what that meant. Because it was my first injury. I didn't know if that meant I broke something.
uh. Wait, how old
Um,
were you?
I was like probably like 15,
15. Okay. And that was with the high school team or club team or
high school.
high school team? Okay.
I think I was 14. I was 14
14. Okay.
because I was younger than everyone. But yeah, rolled my ankle. Coach had to come out, carry me off the field for a sprained ankle, by the
Mhm.
way. But I was less so crying because I was in pain, but because I knew that meant that I was going to miss games, which
Mm.
having never gotten injured, I never wanted to miss a game.
Mm.
And like I wanted to be in all 90 minutes or whatever minutes you play when you're that age. Um, and then same thing in college, like when I broke my leg, I knew it meant that I was out for months because at
Yeah.
that point I knew what injuries meant,
Yeah.
considering what I was at school for. And I knew that meant I was out for the rest of my senior season. So my senior season was done.
So you broke your leg your senior year?
Mm-hmm. Senior year on senior day. That's my fun fact.
Senior year on senior day.
Yeah.
I guess was that your last game
Yep.
ever?
At LaSalle, yeah.
So your biggest fear came to life.
Mm-hmm. Yep. At the worst possible moment. Like, had that been junior year, it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I got next year.
Yeah.
And then.
And then there's more.
And then, like, I'm already having the fear, and this is October of 2019. So I'm like, I remember the day and everything, but
What day was it?
October 19th. But no, wait, maybe I'm lying.
Okay.
Cut it.
October.
October of 2019, best month of the year, by the way. And
I agree with you.
and I'm like, all right, at least I have our postseason, like our off-season game that we get to, because we're D3, so we can only play one in the spring.
Oh.
Yeah, and then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be in that game in April because I'm gonna, rehab, do all the things. I'll be back in a few months. Boom, COVID hit, so I don't even get that last game.
Oh my goodness.
I know. I was so sad because I was like, at least I get like closure. But
by the way, I've never seen anybody speak of sad with such a big smile. I think you have a beautiful smile. I get to flirt with you because you're my wife. Wow, what? So you never actually got to say bye to soccer?
No.
When I met you, what what was your title? Not single or whatever that
Oh,
was, but I mean like vocation.
what? Who calls that a title? Nobody
I
calls it.
do. So,
Nah. I was an athletic trainer.
yeah. I think it's so interesting how I wonder if our fears actually become a signal or the first step to whatever we're gonna do next.
Mm,
And I've seen you be an athletic trainer, and I don't, and not just me because I'm your husband, but everybody that I talk to that has seniors, like you have such a unique ability to just be with the person
mm,
and care for them. And I think part of like having a relationship with fear, I think what does it look like for fear to actually be a signal of growth
mm,
instead of something that paralyzes you. And and I don't know if that's why you chose athletic training. But I think for me is like I think it's so interconnected. The fact that you are so good at your job, given that your last moment within the sport actually never really happened, and it was taken away from you through an injury. And so tell me a little bit more. So you are an athletic trainer.
mhm,
You are a coach. You are a wife.
mhm,
You are a friend. You are a daughter. You are a sister.
mhm.
Uh, you play all of these different roles. When you're on the field, um, is there anything that you fear as not an athlete now that you're either an athletic trainer or a coach?
Well, yes, as an athletic trainer, as I've talked about before with you, my greatest fear was like facing a life or death situation
Mm,
because that's our responsibility, or at least like we're first responders in that case. So, um, if I'm at a game as an athletic trainer, all I'm thinking about is watching somebody getting injured, um, or watching someone go into like some kind of sudden arrest or like something that will require life-saving skills. That's my greatest fear as an athletic trainer.
So
Um,
let's use that to work and try to invert fear because I think I want to not just talk about fear, but I want to see how we can manipulate fear.
mm,
And I think I love that you say that fear is your best friend because part of the reason why we have a lot of mental issues
mm,
as athletes or just as humans is because I think we run away from these things like anxiety, being overwhelmed, fear, depression. Something that may be helpful is like when we feel fear, like I think it can be attached to an action, and so being able to see the fear of that injury um, creates caution and being able to see what is the action that needs to be taken when I feel fear. But I think there's the unique distinction between having fear and fear having you. And I think whichever one has the other one, that's what determines if we get paralyzed or not. I wonder what would it look like to flip that with every situation that we experience fear. Um, and I think like even when I'm in an airplane and I see everything that looks so beautiful, I think there's a essence of fear in there because like yo I'm so high up but it looks beautiful
mhm.
and I think they almost it's like fear can be the cousin of awe or the brother or sister I don't know but I do think they're relatives. If you get paralyzed in your fear then you're missing the opportunity for awe and I think that's really important as an athlete um, and even if we just start at the fact that it's okay to have fear. Um, and then what is that gonna activate as opposed to like I have fear, I'm gonna run away. What are some examples maybe in the real world
Mm.
that you feel that fear has really taken over you and you felt paralyzed like yo I can't cope I gotta stop.
the the fear of like embarrassing yourself, I think,
Mm,
is always a big one. I think that's what everyone it like suffers from. Again, when I was in high school, like my anxiety was so much worse, believe it or not, like than it is now. Um, and so I had the fear of public speaking, which my school made it so I had to get over that. And
hmm
maybe exposure is I know
mm,
exposure therapy is a
oh
thing.
Yeah.
Yes, because I had to present for an hour long, 3 times a year on what I was doing in
An
school.
hour
An
long.
hour, an hour.
Wow.
And a lot of the feedback I used to get was, "Why are you fidgeting? Why I can't hear you, even though I'm like right next to you." Like I was whispering in a room because it was like 15 people who I probably knew, but
Mm.
like I was like, oh, they literally had to judge me.
Yeah.
Like they had a feedback form, and you had to write down
Yeah.
whatever you thought could be good stuff too. But
We
of
don't think of the
course,
good stuff.
why would we think
Yeah.
of that? It's everything I did wrong. Um, so a fear of public speaking, and then a rational fear of talking on the phone. I have that fun story of when I asked her to call a college for me to
Uh-huh.
check on my application status because I didn't want to do it, but I knew it had to get done. And they started asking her for like identification, like information.
Oh my God.
And they asked for my address, and
Yeah.
she misspoke on the address. Imagine being the lady on
Damn.
the other line, like, how do you not know where you live?
Damn.
So making it like now I've put my friend in this situation who's like
Well, so would you
just
say that
trying to
was
help
fear
me.
of the phone or fear of being rejected by the college?
I think I think it was mostly fear of the phone because I just hated making phone calls. Like I had an internship at that time that I was working at a chiropractic office,
Uh-huh.
and I was basically a medical secretary, and she wanted me to call like insurance companies and be like, well, what's the deal on like this policy for this injury or whatever. And like I would do anything else before I had to make the phone call. So she'd come
Wait,
in and
what
be like,
you had to do? What was the phone call for? Like what do you
like,
have to do in the interaction?
like I had to, I think I had to like give them the patient's information and like their insurance information and say like, how much are you gonna cover on their
Okay.
like injury because most of them were car insurance, um, car accidents.
Uh-huh.
So I just like I think it was the fear of embarrassment because like you're on the phone and they ask you a question and I don't know what question they're gonna ask. So it's like you gotta be ready and
Yeah.
like it was a lot of just
Fear of feeling stupid.
I guess
Do we,
so.
and I think we can all identify with that. Like, there's moments where, like, if I'm in a room where, like,
Mm,
I know the IQ is high in
mhm,
whichever department, um, whether it's soccer or intellectual,
mm,
fear of sounding stupid is there. I don't know that there's probably a better word for it. Um, but then I do think that there's something connected to rejection because if I look stupid, I'm gonna be rejected by the room. If I don't do this right for my boss, I might get rejected by the boss.
mm,
Every question that I don't answer might be get me closer to getting rejected on this insurance. And I do think that there is a fine dance of fear of rejection, which I think we all have. Like when you talk about athletes, like fear of rejection is not making the team.
mhm,
You know, fear of rejection is getting to your last season and not making a pro. You got rejected by the next level. Fear of rejection is going on the bench. You know, and so I think this being able to dive into what is it really, um, and I think it opens up the opportunity to be honest. And something that really stood out was that just about every fear that you talked about was connected to a human.
mm,
And so it was like somebody on the other side of the phone. I had to tell my friend or sounding stupid in front of these people. Um, and I wonder if there's something there with regards to uh, is it that I feel that way and I don't want them to feel that way about me. But maybe they don't even like. Maybe they're just willing to help you, and you're just like, I don't know the answer to that, but can
mm,
you explain? Because I do think that the other human can unlock that. And I say that because I think as athletes, when we have fear of being in the bench, we're one conversation away with our coach, with the captain, with whoever plays our position. Um, one conversation away from saying like, yo, like I don't know how to do this. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't understand this drill. And I wonder again if the human connection can actually unlock the fear. Because I do feel that again, I think fear is a signal for something beautiful. And when you fear that you don't know where I am, is because you love me.
Mm.
When you fear if Kiara's not answering, is because you love her.
Mhm.
And I think it's actually your love for something.
Mm.
And so, what does it look like to know that fear is actually a signal for what we love? And I know that we love sports. And every time that we feel fear is because we have such a high love for sports. And what are we going to do with that love? And again, I do think love also needs action. When I was younger, uh, my parents didn't have documents, and every single time that the phone rang, I would be terrified that what if this was the call that tells me that my dad is not going to be here? Thank God, now they both are fully legal, but I wonder what that's like too, how that plays a role in our reality, especially like with inner city players that we work with. Um, and feeling the fear of losing their family and losing even themselves, losing their community, and if they get deported. um, and I say that because I strongly believe that if if we find what we fear, I think we reach a ceiling, um, or we reach the top of something, but I think there's something above that. And so, for example, if you have intense fear of losing a game, um, we forget that there's another game,
Mhm.
and there's something else on the other side of that fear. And sometimes it's not what we want there to be. So when I talk to players with regards to the fear of deportation, especially now in the Hispanic community, I think it's really intoxicating to see deportation as the top, as the ceiling. And what does it look like to break through that ceiling? And it's not that I don't have the fear, uh, or that I could remove that fear from when I was younger, but if I had gotten deported, um, soccer was still in Colombia. I still have a family in Colombia. If my family got deported, we would figure out a new way to experience reality, despite of deportation. And so I think that, again, finding that fear and almost finding a way to look above the fear, actually brings us to a higher level of, in the present moment. If I know that even if I get deported, I will be okay, I'll be okay at that training session. And so I just encourage us to just find that which we fear and see what's above it. I think there was a conference once where we went together, and this lady, her name is Lima,
Mhm.
um, and she
Jamie.
Jamie Lima, and she said on your notes, uh, write the thing that you would do right now
Mm.
if you were uh, if you were guaranteed that you couldn't fail.
Mm.
Um, and I was like, "Whoa, what a question!" Like I would, so many things that you would do. I think failure has a lot to do with our ability to, our inability to continue. But the first thing that I wrote, I remember, was propose to you.
Yeah.
And then like she started to break down like, oh well, where's that coming from? And then I started to realize that I have a fear of wasting time, and I think that's so real. And I'll take it from me, like for me it's one of the realest things, but I can't imagine that it's not for other people. So it's like I have the fear of wasting time with someone and then it not working. And then it's not just time, but energy and love and money and moments. And that was a high fear. Um, and then just being able to just write those things down helped me find where the ceiling of my fear was. But then above that, it was like, well, what if it went better than you could imagine? What if and then everybody had to pick that thing which they wrote, and for me was proposing. And so it was like, what if our marriage could be the best thing I could ever imagine? And there was something about that that just unlocked um, uh, this ability to take action. I think it was October, November, December, January, February. 4 months later, I proposed to you, and uh, we are 1 year in since that, but we got married last November. So what are we at? 3 months since
Yes.
we got married.
Yes.
Okay,
About to be.
about to be 3 months since we got married. But I say that this is a personal example um, that happened to me, but it really helped me that moment with that mental coach of being able to articulate the fear, break it down. I don't want to waste time, and also it helped me understand that like this is also a byproduct of previous situations. I felt that other relationships, when they ended, I felt incredible sense of having lost time and lost a lot of things, and that was informing my actions. And so, for athletes, like being benched for a game can't inform your next game. Being injured can't inform once you come back from injury how you play. Um, that it could definitely play a role, but it can't be the totality of your expression. If you don't make a team, if you get cut, that can't be the totality of the information that goes in on your next moment of expression within the sport. And so as we come to a close, I I I think uh, it would be helpful if whoever's listening, we can give them one thing that you would like to maybe propose in the sense of how to deal with fear,
Mm.
and maybe I'll come up with one too.
I was thinking, especially break the fear of like something like public speaking or like talking to others, things that involve other people, like those fears. Is that like everyone has the same fear? Like
Ah,
I've spoke to so many people and I've heard so many other people say like, yeah, I just don't want people to judge me. Yeah, I don't want to feel embarrassed. I feel this way. I feel that way, and it's like we so often, and I tell athletes this all the time, like we so often think that we're the only ones experiencing one thing when in reality it's almost everyone is experiencing the same thing.
mm,
Some people are just better at hiding it.
mm,
So I think just remembering like we're all going through the same thing. We
hmm,
all don't know what we're doing. So don't be afraid of someone else judging you,
yeah.
because at the end of the day we're all trying our best.
Wow.
Mm.
There was a lot in that.
My fault.
That was no, that was great. How can you say that in like a sentence? That was really good.
uh on a sentence, um, remember we're all going through the same thing.
Remember, we're all going through the same thing. So if you're an athlete and you're going through something, like your teammate is probably going through that,
Mm.
or they have gone through it. I can't imagine that your coach has not gone through something that you're feeling as an athlete. And I think the call to action is probably just to have a conversation, um, and and that can also be difficult, but that's the call to action. And when there's action, do it. On the other side, there will be beauty and growth. Um, it's my turn.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I really like that one. Um,
And I think it helps, like, not only does that help you with your fear, but it also helps you empathize with other people
mm,
who might be going through the same thing. It makes it easier. Like, I I
well, that's
feel
good.
that people are gonna have so much respect for you if you do end up trying to have a conversation
Mm,
with them. Like, listen, like, what
yeah,
is it that you do? Because I'm afraid of like
yeah,
not making it. I'm afraid of
yeah.
not being succeeding the
So I
way
guess
you do.
remember both that you have somebody to in the moments of fear, you have somebody that you can probably go to that's also experienced it or has experienced it,
Mm.
but also be aware that you can be that someone for somebody else in not just on the field but in life.
Mm-hmm.
That's very good.
Mm-hmm.
That's very good.
The
I,
healer came out.
the healer came out. I'm just gonna go with a simple. I think fear is a signal of growth, and I think it's probably if we could give yours a title, or I don't think I'm coming up with anything new, but I do think that identifying that it's a signal,
Mm.
like when I'm driving and my gas signal comes out, it's a signal that I got to do something. Um, or changing the oil or the lights, and all these signals are actually taking care of us, which I think is something really unique. Like um, we hate red lights, but it's taking care of us. We hate the gas
Mm.
turning on, but it's reminding us that you're gonna be stuck in the middle of the road.
Yeah,
uh,
you
you-
especially.
yes, I have. It has happened, um, but it signals
Mm.
are a moment of growth. Um, cool. This was fun. This was. I love hearing your voice. Period. But I love hearing you come out with such good insight. I've been thinking about a title for this podcast.
This whole time.
This whole time while you're talking, I'm just no,
Locked in.
but not no before this time. But
Yeah.
but I was curious. Do you have?
I didn't know that's where you were going. Do I have a title?
Do you have like suggestions? Should maybe
Mm.
people should comment or comments? Yeah, just comments. What else can you do other than comment? After you like
DM me,
the
text me,
podcast,
call me.
okay. Don't call her because she doesn't like
I actually don't pick up.
to be on phone calls. I don't like that either.
You just weaponize that.
I just weaponize that.
My vulnerability.
Okay, so comment, like, text, call. You can call. We got to fight that fear. So you can call her. You can call me. And a title for the podcast. I have one that I think we can run with, but you guys can help us.
You're gatekeeping?
I'm gatekeeping. Should I save it for no? I don't like to gatekeep. So I think infinite growth. It really struck me deep down in my core the other day that I was listening to someone talking. He said, "Yo, there is one thing that humans can do that God can't."
Oh yeah.
And He needs you to do that. And I was like, "Wait, what? There's something that I can do that God can't do, and that He needs me to do." And that is growth. And I hope that the moment that we are together and that we are together, there's just a moment of growth for us, for the people listening, and infinite growth. I think for me would be great. But if you have something better, drop it. I think that's it. Anything else you wanna say to the people? How did it feel now post episode 1?
I thought it was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
I love talking about things that are connected with the sport and with life. Like I think it's so it's such a good tool to use that like the same things you see on a field are the same things you see in a classroom or at work or at home.
Cool. Cool. So we'll definitely have some more episodes. So if you don't know what Infinite Ballers is, we are simply player and personal development. And we're not trying to recreate the wheel. We are just convinced that we have the ability to speak life into players, athletes, coaches. And so that's what we do. And we do mental performance coaching, we do spiritual performance coaching, we do tactical coaching, we do on-field coaching. We do that on a one-on-one level. We do that on a small group level. We do that on a team basis level. So we work with teams during preseason or teams within season. And it's not restricted to sports, to a specific sport. We do it with all sports because I do think that there's some principles that just transcend all of sports. And our goal is just to optimize your performance as an athlete, and through that, optimize your human experience. Thank you for listening to our first episode. Thank you for fighting the fear of public speaking. I love you, and we'll see you guys next time.